Welcome to Nasdaq Spotlight. We're here with Helle Bank Jørgensen, CEO and founder of Competent Boards, which provides professional development and advisory services focused on bringing climate and sustainability insights to companies and investors. Competent Boards offers online ESG and climate education programs delivered by a faculty of over 180 of the world's leading board members, C-suite executives, investors, and experts. Helle also serves as a Nasdaq Center for Board Excellence Insights Council member. Helle, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Alana. It's good to be with you.
Climate diversity, human rights, anti-corruption, data, and cybersecurity. So much has changed in the past 3 years in terms of how the world sees and addresses these issues. What has surprised you the most?
That's a good question. And I think it's the speed. So, Alana, when I founded Competent Boards, many told me that board of directors and executives did not need any ESG and climate training. It was a niche and at best a nice to have competence. But that has changed, and very, very fast. Now it seems like ESG climate competences is a need to have to satisfy investors as well as other stakeholders. It's seen as a duty of care to be informed and provide that oversight and execute a future fit strategy and transition plan that we all talk about. So I think, honestly, with the speed we are moving, I believe that we, in a not so distant future, will see an increasing demand for directors to be ESG and climate literate, just as we expect the same as directors to be financially literate.
How can individual blind spots in these areas lead to a loss of commercial opportunities? Are there real world examples you've seen?
Well, there are unfortunately many examples of how blind spots can lead to not only the loss of commercial opportunities, but actually a loss of board seats and, of course, reputation and shareholder value. And that is what happens, I believe, that when you say sustainability or ESG climate change is an afterthought, and you don't factor in the changing consumer demands, the changing demands from employees, etc. But I think if I may, I'd rather give you an example of a company who gained commercial opportunities by ensuring that they put sustainability, ESG, and climate considerations front and center. And full transparency, it is a company that I had the pleasure to work with, but one I think that most know. So Maersk Shipping, the blue containers with the white star. So by realizing that Maersk customers were looking to reduce the carbon footprint in their supply chain of their products, Maersk wanted to be part of that solution, like I think lots of companies do. But first, what they did was they reduced the fuel consumption by introducing something called slow steaming. This was a change from getting the goods as fast as possible, just in time. But at that point, I said to Maersk, companies like Walmart, Nike, Unilever, IKEA want to reduce the carbon footprint, and they can adopt their planning in order to get their goods shipped a bit sooner. And now this slow steaming is a commercial success for Maersk, saving money, it's gaining good reputation, customers, etc. And now Maersk is going even further. They are taking what I'll call a leadership position. They are investing in, and perhaps using some of the money they saved, in, I believe it's 13 new vessels or green container ships, while they're also creating a new industry producing methanol to actually power these container ships. So it's kind of like breaking that chicken or egg situation. But besides being this commercial opportunity, it's also a calling card to the best talent in the world. And of course, new customers looking to reduce their carbon footprint and in turn, frankly, the cost of their products. So it's simply smart to look at these commercial opportunities and not get trapped in losing a board seat or shareholder value and customers if you're not doing it.
We've mentioned Competent Boards designation certificate programs. How are they going? Are we making progress around ESG and climate? And where do you see the most room for improvement?
we had a wait list for the ESG designation program that just started, and both the October climate designation and the ESG programs are filling. So it's going well, thank you. But although we now have graduated over 500 board members and executives from the programs, we are just getting started. I think we have more and more partners who are offering our programs, content to their clients or customers, and we're starting to offer ESG education delivered to local markets via partners around the world. But I mean, my dream and ambition is to have ESG and climate competent board members and executives in all companies. And it will help all of us who have shares in companies to ensure we get the best long-term return. And of course, the companies and their executives and directors to, well, safeguard their careers as well as value creation for all the stakeholders that the companies are so dependent upon. But clearly you can't just transform boardrooms and C-suites overnight. It takes time and it takes dedicated training and education. And as I said, I mean, over 500 alumni are counting, and from the interest in our programs, it looks like we'll continue to grow that number exponentially in the coming years. But you asked an interesting question in terms of where we could see more improvement. And there are certain regions of the world that are, let's face it, in front of other regions of the world, like Europe, and there are perhaps some of more laggard countries. But I think we'll see very quick speed to get to that right education. I also think we'll see some growing markets. You know, we have India, Asia, Africa, and I think we're going to see those improve exponentially over the coming decade. So this is kind of like a train moving, and some are moving a little bit faster and frankly getting the commercial opportunities faster as well.
When you get someone to see the value in climate, sustainability, anti-corruption, other key corporate governance areas, how does a company or individual take the next step and embed them into their strategy and culture?
What we do is we provide a toolbox with insight and case studies and questions to ask yourself and management and fellow board members. But the journey is, of course, not the same for all companies. But I think one of the key questions for the board and management to discuss if they want the company to be a leader, as I said in terms of Maersk before, that is to answer how much do they depend on their customers, how much do they depend on the employees, etc. What do they want in the future? And I think it depends also how, of course, mature the company and the leadership are, and the industry and the current and future risk and opportunities facing the company and the industry. I can tell you that I have some of the chief sustainability officers that are calling me and asking, what have I done to their board members? Because they suddenly can speak with confidence on the strategic value of sustainability and the interconnective thinking and strategy that's needed. And I think that is a key. We of course also have others joining, also chief sustainability officers that joining the leadership program. And they learn how to, in their own words, speak the board language, and therefore can be of so much more value to the board and the company. So I think it all starts with knowledge, good governance practices, sound judgment, and as I say from time to time, you know, luck favors the prepared. And frankly, I love seeing how lucky the competent board's alumni are. But in the end, it's the mindset. Once you have that, once you start seeing all the different pieces, once you have that knowledge, that insight, everything starts to fall into place, and you can, well, start taking one step at a time. This is not from one day to the next. This is a transition, like with so many other things.
Your book is titled Stewards of the Future, A Guide for Competent Boards, and the concept of the future-ready boardroom is something you've talked about. What's a piece of advice you might give to someone who's just getting introduced to corporate governance topics?
Well, I guess I sound like a broken record. Get informed. It is hard to make informed decisions if you're not informed. And Well, of course, I would say that you should read the book, join peers from around the world to learn from, and with the leaders who have both tried, they have failed, they have succeeded. And I think that's where perhaps my aim with the Competent Boards Education Program is to give practical guidance to the board members and the business leaders, so they can leapfrog their career and the value creation for the companies. And, well, to use the title of the book, become stewards of the future and provide value to those current and future shareholders and stakeholders.
Helle, thank you so much for joining us for this NASDAQ Spotlight. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you both to you and Nasdaq for all your leadership.